What's the crack? So listen, this is Friday Live at 11 with myself and Jason Kane here from Elite FPA, and we have got Michael John Lennon, who is the CEO of Elite FPA up in Belfast, on the show with us here today to talk about how to make your fitness business basically recession-proof. And the answer to the number one question in everybody's head, which is, should we be selling right now, or is this shit immoral? So they're going to hand it over to yourself to introduce to all the audience here that's watching. We've got a load of guys from EFPA, coaches, community and stuff, and say hello to these dudes, and then we will have some breakout and questions later on with you. So over to you, MJ.
Love it, Sean. First and foremost, boys, thank you for having me on here. I think it's about time we done a joint live at 11 for sure. I think it's about time. Yeah, thank you, boys, for having me on here. And do you know what? Like, I gotta say, for any of the dudes watching in here, like, we're very lucky to have you boys. There's a couple of guys from up my neck of the woods on here as well. They are very, very lucky to have you boys as a, as a resource for support throughout this here. So, consider yourselves lucky, dudes. I run the Belfast operation of Elite Fitness and Performance Academy, and I've learned a lot off Jay and Sean, obviously, throughout the years. And hopefully I'm going to give you guys some practical stuff to take away today, because listen, it's so easy right now that we can all get stuck in this scarcity mindset, right? We can all get stuck in that. And what's the worst thing that we can all do right now is sit and not ask anyone for help. Right? That's the worst thing that we can all do. So literally the best thing that you can do right now is reach out. And I always say to people, listen, a problem shared is a problem halved. So just go and share your problem. And even last week, I found myself, kind of sitting in that scarcity mode. Should I be putting stuff out there? I went and had a conversation with Sean. 10 minutes later, I was like, right, fuck it, we're going to run an ad here for a home session or for a home training program. Boom, we have 15 applications straight away. Applications, that's not even like, here, I liked your stuff. That's, I'm interested in what you're saying here. Okay. So that is like a straight up application. All right. So, for me, the most important thing is, listen, reach out, share the problem, get help, and, drop the ego.
Good. Well, look, let's take it back before we get into all this stuff, because that is dead good advice. How the hell did we even first meet? Let's get some background on this. Do you remember?
Yes. So I think it was me and you, Sean, it was actually at a workshop in Santor.
I think it was Santor. Were we not in a room full of benders?
Dude, we were in a room full of benders. That's exactly where it was.
We're going to have to explain what that is now, because people are going to think that's not politically correct. But yes, that's exactly where we were.
It was actually with Dave Whitley. It was at a workshop in Santor, and I actually done it was a workshop down in your place with Jay before I done my SFG, and that's kind of how the sort of connection made. It was very much through learning. It was very much through education, and now we partner up to deliver the best education in fucking Europe.
You still haven't told them what the benders thing was, though.
Well, I mean, so listen here, Dave Whitley, all right? Dave Whitley's a performance strongman, and Paul McElroy got him over to Belfast, and he was basically teaching us how to bend steel. And you know what? Still today, I use some of that stuff on the course, and the students are all like, "What the fuck is going on right now?" And I was like, "You're not going to get that anywhere else. No way."
You're a pretty good bender.
I was a good bender. For sure. Yeah. So that's basically how that connection started out, and it kind of just progressed from there. I remember you boys saying, "Listen, we wanna branch out here. We wanna move towards Belfast." And my thing was always education. Like I just love teaching. So it was just natural. We share a lot of the same values, a lot of the same training principles, I would say as well. So it was a real natural progression for it to happen.
Sweet. Yeah. Look, this is the creature. This is one of the cool things about being at home and running your stuff from home. Like,
yeah.
And stuff. This is Iana, everybody. Do you want to say hello?
Say hello.
No, she's not going to say hello. Okay. So Jay, well, how did you end up meeting it? Because it was actually, I think, Jay, you introduced John to me. So like you knew him before me, did you?
Yeah, well, I think as John was saying there, you were doing some stuff with us down in Dublin, and I'm nearly sure, did we meet at a Strength Matters thing or anything like that before that?
Yeah, you were actually my team leader on the Strength Matters weekend, and then the Irish Kettlebell team as well.
Sweet, sweet, happy days. So that's I suppose where the connection came in, and then I suppose the rest rolled down from there. You know.
For sure, for sure.
And this is the thing, when we were talking about the education, you introduced me on your show actually last week, John, and you were like, this is the maddest bastard ever. You know, we started up with like, oh, we'll get into how we got elite in Belfast in a minute. And really it was because you had the biggest cojones ever. Like, I mean, I was very, very impressed with that. You were like, listen, I'm all over this. I'm doing this. And I think at the time, you know, even getting the money together, I don't know if you had the money and the investment ever, but you were just like, I'm in.
Hadn't 2D. Not a fucking penny. Drove to Dublin with not a penny in my pocket, struggled to get petrol, walked down and negotiated a deal with Sean to bring Elite to Belfast, walked out and was like, right, fuck, now where am I going to get the money to make all this here shit happen?
And what I love about that is like, is it the Richard Branson quote where he says, if somebody asks you, can you do something, say yeah, and then go figure out how to do it.
Fucking right. I'll take a chance now and figure it out later.
Excellent. Okay, so tell us what's happening now. Is like the environment that we started out in, you know, the Elite thing, and where you've come, because you've a gym hybrid, and we've been through like, you know, how many years are we together now?
Dude, yeah, I think it's going on 4 years now, almost 4 years. We'll be working together at Elite.
Well, what's the differences that's happening here now? Because like what we've been through is like came out of a recession. Got the times when it was really, really good. And now what's happening is we're looking like we're heading into something that's completely outside of our control and it's changing the landscape of business and the way that we're going to do things. That's going to affect gyms and has affected gyms in a crazy, crazy way. Like I said this in your show last week, it's the whole idea, you know, Game of Thrones, winter is coming. It's like, no, winter's here. And like none of us were prepared for it. So what are the things, like you say, like there's laws of nature that make fitness recession proof. Yeah. So what do you see different about the landscape now, and what do you see as being the these laws of nature that could make a business recession proof?
Okay, cool. So this is probably going to sound a wee bit cuckoo to people, but I mean, I love studying evolution. Right, it is my thing. It fascinates me. Right now, the thing is that you know, our perception of reality has like been completely distorted this last 100 years. Right, completely distorted. And if you want the real answers as to how the world works, you have to look at nature for the answers, all right? So I'm going to give you a couple of analogies here because I think analogies are the best way that anyone can learn. Yeah. If we take, you know, well, here's one of the answers, Sean. What happens in business if you try to serve everyone?
You serve no one.
You serve no one, right? What happens in nature if a lamb tries to catch 20 zebra? He catches none, okay? So you have to look at nature for the answers. The answers don't lie in our distorted view of reality. The answers lie in nature, and nature always optimizes for the whole, okay? That's nature's job, essentially. Now, within business, all right, especially like fitness business, okay? And I'm a true believer that fitness is recession-proof. And it's because of the laws of nature, right? So there's only two things that people are inherently subconsciously programmed to do. One, self-preservation, as in survival. And two, reproduce, okay? That's the only things that we are put here to do. And that is nature's way of optimizing for the whole. Now, do people ever stop eating food? No. It's real simple. If people stop eating food, they go towards pain and eventually they die, all right? Now, again, subconsciously, people are also programmed to move and search for food, all right? And again, it's a way of staying away from pain, as in primarily don't get eaten and go and look for food, okay? That is just built into us. So fitness and nutrition are built in subconsciously to our instincts. And if we as a business give people a more efficient way to do both of those things, then it becomes recession proof, all right? So I always look to the laws of nature for that. Now, if we flip that over a wee bit, and the second law of nature, which is reproduction, what's the three things combined that make that happen, right? Number one is community or tribe. as we would call it in primal terms. Number 2 is finding a mate, or number 3 is keeping a mate. Okay, so that's the real laws of nature. Now, what happens if you are one, not in a community or not in a tribe? The chances of you finding or getting a mate are very, very slim. Okay, so again, we are primarily programmed to look for tribes. And in nature, when you stand out from the crowd, no one wants to stand out from the crowd because that means you get eaten. All right, so everyone wants to be within a community, everyone wants to be within a tribe. Plus, we want to look good to keep our partner, or we want to look good to find a future partner. All right, so no matter what, like no matter how you cut it or slice it or what, everyone wants to eat food and everyone wants to look good doing it. All right, so fitness is recession proof simply because the laws of nature make it so. Does that make sense?
Yep. Get paid, get laid. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, Sean, you've been saying that for fucking years. So did I. Has it ever been as fucking true as it has right now?
No, it's even more true than it was back then now.
I don't know about you guys, and I don't know about the guys listening here, but have you ever seen, there's only 3 things that's really working right now, and it's 1, digital technology, what we're doing. 2 is fitness. Everyone's fucking training online, and we're going to cover this here in a bit. There's 1 million trainers on Facebook right now who have never produced a piece of content in their life, and they're out there and they're showing everyone how to do 15-minute sessions, right? So fitness, and of course Tesco's is fucking queued down the street. So nutrition, all right? Those are the only 3 things that's working right now. And if you have a community to combine with that, then boom, you're on to a winner. Cool?
Yep, I love it. Do you know, this is something because Ray's here, and Ray actually was one of the guys I got an email from. Actually, his was quite sensible. Like a lot of people panicking because that's what's happened at the minute. A lot of people are panicking. Am I getting out of business? What? All these people catastrophizing. But Ray was quite sensible. He was like, what should I do? What angle should I take? Because he also seen that like people are still going to want coaching. People are still going to want nutrition advice. They want help. They want direction. They want guidance. They want support. They want motivation. They want all those things because of all the reasons you've just described. But I think really his question is, where should I position? Like, where could I serve my audience best? And I think that's a question that's it should be predominant in people's minds today. And like, we even had this in our own team meeting discussing our own tactics, which was like the difference between mice and wildebeest. So like, you'd be talking about, the laws of nature. Think about a big lion in the savannah or wherever the fuck lions are. Okay, don't be the dude that says lions don't live in savannah. I'm making this up. A lion is on the savannah. Now, it could chase mice and they would be very easy to catch, but it would waste a lot of energy in catching the mouse. The return on investment probably wouldn't be worth its while.
Yeah.
Now, if it hunts a wildebeest, it's harder to catch, it's bigger prey, it's more time consuming, but when it gets it, the reward could keep it, fed for weeks, maybe even months. Yeah. And like, that's like, are you going to go low end or are you going to go high end with your stuff? And like, then the value and the proximity is going to be different. And these are all the points that we need to consider in the approach we take and the things that we're going to sell,
Yeah. I suppose, Sean, you always said just keeping with the nature theme today, you always said you've got, blue ocean swimmers and you've got red ocean swimmers, right? Yes. The red ocean is fucking shark infested right now. Now, I suppose from, a practical standpoint, right? As you said, Sean, where do we find our customers right now? I think a lot of people know that the only way we can serve our customers right now is in a community-based way. Because again, going back to something you always say, the middle of the road gyms, they're fucked.
Dead.
Right? Dead.
Gone.
Right, gone. So you've either got high end who are set out to, serve people and who care about people and who have been getting results. Go ahead. You've either got that high end, or you've got, someone who's paying a tenner into a gym and they've just completely forgot about it right now. They're just going to let it go. So the middle of the road is now completely gone, right? Now, if we think about what Sean always says, that sort of shark infested water, what's shark infested right now from a practical standpoint is social media, in particular Facebook, right? I'm sure all of the trainers that are on here right now are looking at social media and going, what the fuck? Like, these dudes have never been on, they've never shared a piece of content in their life that's going to help their audience. And, is the audience on Facebook right now really benefiting from more 15-minute workouts? Probably not, right? Because they're bombarded with it right now. Now, if we think about where is our audience right now, okay? So who is still working? Probably, you know, busy executives, CEOs, people who are, as Sean would describe, wildebeests in the business world. They're still working, right? Are those people spending a lot of time on Facebook? Probably not. Like, probably not. And I have been convinced of this here the last few months, is that our audience right now is on LinkedIn. Okay, I truly believe that, because for a number of reasons. Well, one, 45% of LinkedIn users, right, earn 60K plus per year. Those people haven't lost their job. That's a fact, right? They haven't lost their job. Number two, LinkedIn is a more credible resource for information, especially right now, because what's happening right now on social media is that it's fucking shark infested, right? Social media is shark infested. But if you look at LinkedIn, every single person on there, they're still working. They're still working, and that's the reason they're on LinkedIn. So, like, who has our audience right now, and how do we get in front of them? Personally, I don't believe they're on Facebook because it's bombarded. I personally believe that all of our energy right now should be focused on LinkedIn and growing that platform, right? Which is much easier to grow than Instagram, for instance. Okay, I don't know, fucking up to 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, and I've only been doing it a month, which is like, you're not going to add that on Instagram because the algorithm has changed now. Much harder to grow an audience, but on LinkedIn, it is 10 times easier, and the information is more credible.
I like it.
I suppose that's just the first, practical thing that people can take away.
Cool. Love that. Actually, we have a question here from Gareth McLean. He says, can we pull this question out now just while he's on?
Yeah, let's do it.
So he's saying, this is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and adjust. Do you feel James coaches should or will continue to deliver online coaching after all this is over, like some sort of hybrid type offer?
Yeah, no doubt, mate. Like 100%. I think it's the only path going forward. And I know sort of Jay and Sean, I mean, you two boys were already ahead of the game on this here, because I remember actually about 3 or 4 months ago, I said, I wrote to you, I was like, I'll take my cut for the hybrid copy that you used at that time. So you boys were already a wee bit ahead of the game in this here, and you know what? It's forced the rest of us to go, fucking hell, we were sleeping in there. Now we gotta, as Gareth says, look at this here as an opportunity and really capitalize on it. And I think it is something that is going to become even bigger in the future, no doubt about that.
I think an important point for people to bring in there is going to be the idea of, most people want to go back to normal right now. So if you could hand most people a magic wand and wave it, they would just be like, back to normal, back to normal. So, I mean, normal doesn't exist anymore, and it's not going to exist. So I could imagine in up north it's going to be the same, but definitely down south, I'd be thinking, if I was anybody, is like the 1st of June is when any normality is going to come back. I don't see any level of normality coming back before the 1st of June. So whatever you're planning, that's when we're kind of planning for. And the other thing about that kind of hybrid thing is it ties everything that we spoke about together, that really, when we talk about lower end and higher end, well, if you're going up the higher end of the market, it's going to be about communication, about coaching, and about connectivity. So there's 3 C's there. I don't know, they just come out nicely there. We call it the 3 C's approach. All right. So, in order to do all those things, and in order to do them in a speedy fashion, you've got to, move to online mediums and platforms to be communicating with people to make everything streamlined. And ideally, the people that we will be dealing with and talking to are going to respect the coaching process more so than the delivery of exercise per se. Because I think what a lot of people are realizing is there's different levels within the fitness industry. And if you go into like one of these 10 or 20 euro gyms, basically you're just renting out the equipment, and as you move up, you'd have to ask yourself, as a coach or a trainer, have people just been renting out your time to train them for an hour or 45 minutes? Even if they're in a gym and you're doing your semi-private thing, have you actually been really coaching the people, or have they been renting out your equipment and you as a body to tell them, lift this 10 times, put it down, don't bend your back, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of differences there between all those things.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Jay, because, you know, a lot of like what people are calling semi-private personal training, it just means they're doing the exact same thing, but with 4 people.
Yeah.
Above and beyond like going through the workout and like not hurting anything, nobody getting hurt, and they got a sweat on. There isn't actually any more coaching going on. It's not really the conversation and the point.
And an important point there comes to proximity. So we have to remember then too that the value we give over to people, you know, is going to be dictated in some ways by the proximity they have to you. So how much of your time or attention, it doesn't necessarily have to be time, but how much of your attention they're getting. And then in terms of that, you have to be getting some value back for that is worth, you know, whatever your time is worth. Because the thing that we have to remember, the more intensive coaching we do with people, the more time it's probably going to take, or the more expertise it's going to take. So you have to be fairly expert at what you do to do the same job, but in less time. So when people are thinking forward about their business model and their gyms, they're going to have to price it accordingly, because, you know, you could do semi-private and I'm going to add in all this extra coaching and then end up, you know, you're actually working 2 or 3 times the amount of hours for less money than what you would have been if you were just doing one-on-one. So there's a lot of little nuances there, and it's just for each person to feel out what's right for them, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people knee-jerky just went, right, I'm going to do what I'm doing now with all these clients, and I'm just going to use Zoom to deliver it all. And it's like, fucking hell. It's like that. That's not what we're talking about here. There's deeper thought needs to go into this, and you have to have a strategy that will work for the long term. A stopgap-y type thing, you know, and then thinking everything's going to go back to normal is not really what we should be looking to do here, is it?
Yeah. I actually, just on that point what Jay was saying there, I actually wrote down 4 questions that you guys can go and ask your current customers, and I think it will really surprise you, some of the answers that you'll get back, right? So either, you know, Sean might share this later, but you can write these down, okay? Question number 1, what are the 3 most important ways that I could help you right now? Right, that's the first question. What are the 3 most important ways that I could help you right now as a coach? All right, and you'll probably be really surprised as to their answers. The second question, right, is how will you measure if I'm doing that job right? How will they measure if I'm doing that job right? You know, because sometimes it's like we have to figure out, well, what does this person want, right? And if every single person has just decided, you know, let's all just train people on Zoom and deliver exactly the same, well, you know, it's not really going to work, because as Sean said last week, information is a commodity. So we have to figure out what the customer wants. And by asking them those first 2 questions, they're going to tell you, which is then up to you to fulfill on what they're asking for, right? The second one would be, what would be the most impactful thing that I could do for you at this time? Or sorry, the third question, what would be the most impactful thing that I could do for you at this time? All right. And again, they will tell you what exactly they want you to do and what exactly they want you to deliver. And then the last one, probably the most important one, is what would you constitute as poor coaching by me at this time? Okay. So they say to you, listen, you know, if you're just delivering me a session every day and you're not in contact with me, you're not communicating with me, well then you know exactly every single step that you have to take now.
Like it.
Yeah.
This will also help, Ray, because like, again, this is something you were sort of touching on in your email to me, Ray. You were asking, like, you knew that coaching and support, that's always going to be there. It's really like, well, what's the mechanism that you do that? Because like really what we're talking about is coaching is behavioral change, and it's the art and the science of getting people to do the things they're supposed to do in order to get what they say they want. That's fucking hard to do. Yeah. So that's where the actual value is. You know, if food on a page, like the cleanest diet known to man, which is normally what goes out to a client, right, that buys one of these lower end things, it's like, there, pre-contest bodybuilder's diet, eat that. And then unless the exercise, if that got results, you know, everybody would be ripped. We wouldn't be having this conversation because our jobs would be, you know, irrelevant. And that's not reality. And the reality is behavioral change, and the coaching is actually what gets people to, over a process of like implementing small habits and building upon them. That's what gets results like. And that takes time, it takes skill, and it takes an investment of what it's worth in order for you to fulfill your end of the bargain there. You know, that's coaching. And a lot of people aren't having coaching conversations, and they're realizing that now. And it's like, fuck, if you try and just mimic what you're doing and use Zoom, it's like, it's not the same. It's like, we're not comparing apples with apples here.
Yeah, 100%, Sean.
So look, another thing that you've been talking a bit about, John, lately is like that there are some high income skills, because look, this offers us a unique opportunity, and that's definitely the way I'm looking upon it. It's like, whoa, I've got all this time, where I can fulfill other things and I can still get my work done. So if somebody's thinking like we're thinking and saying, right, I want to invest my time wisely here, you've talked about high income skills that they could really set people apart. What are they?
So the first one is copy, second one is conversions, and the third one is communication. So copy, conversions, and communication. Learning how to write words that influence your people. Learning how to convert people from, I'm interested in what you're doing right now, to a paying customer. And then obviously communication, and right now, what type of communication is it going to be? It's going to be communicating on video. So I would say right now, those are the three sort of high income skills that a lot of trainers are, let's face it, do neglect. Like we know this here, and a lot of people just get in the industry, like, I just want to train people on the gym floor and I'm cool with that there. But we know, market, sales, fulfillment, when it comes to, and obviously, the marketing and the sales aspect need different types of high income skills. Like you gotta come at your business from a holistic perspective. And this is something that, Jay and Sean taught me way back in the day, right? So it's okay, right? Well, those are high income skills. If I want to deliver more value and I want to help more people, then that is the area in which I'm going to do it in. So I suppose, one of the sort of buzzwords within marketing today is, copywriting. Right? People, how do you become a better copywriter and blah, blah, blah. And, how do I do all this stuff that converts people into paying customers, right? And again, I wanted to give you guys a wee practical thing that was taught to me, right? It was taught to me by a guy called Isaac Lara. This kid is 21 years of age, can't spell, right? Like literally he can't spell. And he gets about fucking 10K for a sales letter, right? It's ridiculous. And he cannot spell. So he says to me, dude, listen, if you think of it this way, right? Whenever you're writing copy, okay, if you think about what is the conversation that your prospect is having in their mind, okay? Well, first of all, what is the objection? What's that conversation? So kill the objection, first of all. That's the first thing that you can do in your copy, right? The second thing that you can do is make your claim. So what does your product or service do, right? So kill the objection. Here's what my product or service does. Third one is, here's the proof of what my product or service does. It could be a testimonial, whatever, right? That's the next bit of copy. And then the final bit of copy is, what is the benefit to your prospect, right? What is the benefit to them? Now, once you have those 4 points, then you just go ahead and write out your copy. So it is objection, claim, proof, benefit. Real simple after that there. And some people might say this is cheating a wee bit. You take the copy, you stick it in an app called the Hemingway app, and the Hemingway app edits your copy for you. Crazy. Like literally, that's it. Okay. And Sean, I'm sure you come across it all the time. You say to people, listen, all right, it's great training people on the gym floor. Yes, you got to do that there, but you also got to develop yourself, as a copywriter, as a good communicator, as a good salesperson. What's the objection people have there? I don't know what to say, or I'm not a good writer, or Dave Elwood's on here now. He gave me the same bullshit for ages, and it's like, dude, there's only one way to figure this shit out. It's like trial and error. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just give it a go. If something doesn't work, it's out there, it's done. Win or learn, move on, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But I think that there's a nice wee template again for people to take away. Because Sean, we were sort of talking about this here last week. Is like, where is the fucking red ocean right now? It's on Facebook and Instagram, because everyone, by the way, is delivering COVID-19 content, right? And I've just stopped that shit now. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm creating evergreen content. Like, fuck that. Everyone is delivering red ocean content right now. So why continue to do that? If everyone's going left, then you go right. All right, so stop delivering COVID content and just deliver evergreen content for whenever things do return to normal, as Jay says. At least you've got a bunch of content there that you can now help. Susan's asking a question there. At least you've got a bunch of content there that can now help people forever and not just during this sort of quarantine. It's the Hemingway app.
Yeah, I was like trying to write it in and I spelled it myself. Jesus.
Yeah, and sorry, I kind of squirreled a wee bit there, but you know, the thing is like where our trainers not focused all their energy now. It's probably not on LinkedIn. You know, everyone's a wee bit unsure about it at this point in time, even though, like I said, it is a more credible resource and it is easier to grow. And most of the people on LinkedIn are still working. And most of the people on LinkedIn are working from home who want workouts at home, right? So, and they're not doing email, right? They're not doing email, and it's just something that's completely avoided. Now, if you think about your audience on Facebook, do you own that audience? Fuck no, right? In fact, they're being bombarded right now from left, right, and center with workouts to, you know, build better glutes at home, right? Now, your email list, you built up a relationship with those people over time, straight to their inbox, straight up conversation. You basically, you know, you own that audience. Okay, now that's the difference. And I'm a huge fan of email marketing, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys on here are watching. I know Sean is as well. And I just find it super effective, especially in today's market. Like, if you haven't started building an email list, don't fucking start building an email list.
I've been saying this for ages. In fact, the next course I'm running is exactly what you're talking about, because there's such a need for it at the minute. Because like having a list that you control means that, you know, anytime you like, you can just go to that list and offer your product. I mean, you can get deplatformed off Facebook, you know, so you can get your account banned, your ad account can get stopped. I mean, you're building your business in borrowed land, which is kind of what I was saying.
Instagram shuts down, everything goes chaos, you can always send an email.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be putting content out on Facebook, and as a course, you should be directing them to your list.
Yeah.
Get people onto your list. I mean, you know, there was a time I was, and this isn't big whoop-de-doo guru numbers, but, you know, I went skiing this year and I was like, fuck, the ski pass is quite dear in Austria. I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll send an email to my list. And I think we made a couple of grand in 5 days, sending 9 emails. That's $2 grand. Now, look, that's not woohoo big guru numbers, you know, but that's a list of 1,900 people. Emailed them for 5 days straight, 9 emails, made $2 grand.
The important thing as well, this point links the two together. So John was saying about having evergreen content or having material that you've already used for a particular task. And Sean and the two guys are talking about email and having a list. Well, what we done there is we just got some information that we'd already produced for different tasks. We bundled it together and offered it up to the email. So, you know, other than writing 5 emails or 6 emails, which could be minutes or hours, depending, that was the extent of the work. That was it.
Yeah.
And if you'd like those emails, by the way, I'm only fucking with you. But you know, it reminds me of a thing that Dan Kennedy, and this is a dude who we're constantly going to talk about. Because look, see all of these concepts that we've spoken about here today. Although the environment we find ourselves in are different, the principles by which human nature did not change when mankind went online. So the marketing techniques and stuff we're discussing and describing here have been around for ages. Dan Kennedy was the dude who said, find multiple ways to get paid for work that you've already completed. And it was another guy that I looked to a lot, and especially in the time, because Ben Settle, who's the dude who I learned email from, and he was like, I mean, why can't you find ways? He basically restated that, and it got me thinking, fuck. And that's where myself and Jay came up with it. What if we did this? It was like, shit, that's a fucking good idea. Let's test that out, you know? So, and email, you know, this is the thing. When we were going to launch that, I went back to my emails that I'd sent over the last fucking 6 years. I went, oh, that one will do. So I was actually sending emails that I'd already written and just changing the color. So like, that's why email's so amazing. You could like literally, you can recycle emails. Whereas like if you do a story on Instagram, well, it's fucking gone 24 hours. Like that is gone unless you're keeping all that stuff. Whereas having a list and building your sales copy ability and your email ability means that you can literally get paid for work forever.
Yeah.
You know, it gives you a true bit of financial independence and the ability to produce forever, which is a skill I've been talking about recently an awful lot, which is like, if you have the ability to produce, and then, you know, you can weather any storm.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So the sort of second high income skill, I suppose, you know, is conversion, Sean. And I know, like, dude, I know this man's a fucking genius when it comes to sales, by the way. Yeah, I'm sure you all know that there. And I Me personally, until I met Sean, like I hadn't a fucking clue. Like literally, I had no clue what I was doing, and had no clue about the sort of psychology of it either. I suppose for a lot of trainers, I doubt it anyone on here, but you kind of start off with, especially coming from my background, is a poor relationship when it comes to money. You almost feel guilty. Like, I want to help people here. Should I be making money? And it's like, you're just trying to help people and you've no even consideration for that there. And then whenever I met Sean, he informed me how little an impact I was making by doing that, right? So obviously it is part of our, it's part of our industry, and it's a part that you should absolutely, immerse yourself in without a doubt, right? Now, I suppose for like we were saying last week, Sean, in today's climate, right? People are right now, they're in scarcity mode. They're like, oh, I don't want to sell anything, blah blah blah, and they're in this wee bubble. Is like, if I like push something on social media, people are going to think I'm greedy. And we quoted Dan Kennedy last week, and Dan Kennedy says, you're only greedy if you're asking for something for nothing. If you're willing to deliver like 10x the value on the other side of the deal, well then, you've every right to ask for the sale. Okay. Now, I suppose in today's market, in today's climate, where everyone is kind of, I just want to help as many people as I can. Like you say, Sean, the psychology hasn't fucking changed. It's still exactly the same. People can get free workouts, but yet they filled in 15 applications for us last week, and they're like, oh, here, I want to know what this here paid stuff is, right? And the reason for that is because, as you say, Sean, information is a commodity. They can get free workouts, but it doesn't hold them accountable, so they're just going to leave it, all right? So the psychology of it hasn't changed. What's changed is, I suppose, our approach to it and our psychology around the situation, right? And like I say, people are in a wee bit of scarcity mode now. And what people are doing right now is they are rejecting themselves before they let the world reject them. Mm-hmm. They're rejecting themselves internally, right? And they're like, no, I'm not going to sell it. And what you have to remember is that, get out there, let the world reject you, but as well, an objection is not a rejection, right? An objection is not a rejection. Right now, people are not fearful of the rejection; they're fearful of the objection. And what are the main objections going to be right now, Sean, that people have?
Well, the first one that I think would come into people's mind is it's got to be the money one.
Yeah. Right. So I actually just seen this here the other day, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. And this guy, I can't actually remember his name, but he says, listen, there's two things you can do there, right? One, you can acknowledge that is a problem, and then two, you can ask a question. That's it, right? And it may be, see, this is the thing. What's usually the biggest objection people have in fitness? I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have. It's gone, right? It's fucking completely gone right now. But the other, biggest objection is the money. Now, whatever you say, listen, I understand completely. We're all on this here. We're all in the same boat here. Like, completely understand where you're at. And of course, you need to do your due diligence on this. And I appreciate you bringing up the price of the product. But can I just ask you, like, what are you actually comparing this to? Are you comparing it to the free stuff? Because if that's the case, then there is no comparison, because what you're going to get with the free stuff is nothing. You're not going to get no results. But with the paid stuff, you're going to get results, and you're going to get coaching, you're going to get accountability, and you're going to get community. Do you know what I'm saying? So acknowledge that there is a problem, and then simply just ask the question around it. Cool?
Yeah. And I mean, listen, even from my motor trade days, people would say that, Jesus, that's pretty expensive. And the first question is, compared to what? I mean, like, what are you actually comparing this to? Because usually people are not comparing apples with apples.
Yeah, it's like, I suppose, to give another analogy, because this is how people learn, and I actually heard this the other day as well. The buyer is usually a liar, right? Now, if you think about someone who walks into a car showroom, right? I'm sure you've seen this a lot, Sean, and you've seen them walking about, and they're checking in and out of every single car. They've looked at every single car. You go over to them and you say, "What's up, mate? Can I help you out?" And they're like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just looking." Right? Are they just looking, or are they in to buy a fucking car?
There is no, I just want to ask the people on here, did you wake up, any time in your life and go, fuck, I have nothing planned for today? Do you know what we should do? We should go and look around some cars. Nobody says, you've got like 2 or 3 cars that you're thinking about, and you go to the dealership to make a decision. You've done your consideration set, and you're going to make a decision that day. So the guy that wins the deal is the one who makes you feel comfortable with saying yes. That was the saying we had.
No, that dude. And it's the same. Like if someone opts in with their email address on a landing page, if someone likes your post, if someone fills in an application form, if someone sends you a DM, that's no different.
They're on your land. They're in your showroom.
It's no different, dude. Like absolutely no different. What's changed is our psychology around it. And we are in that scarcity mode where we're like, oh shit, just want to help people. But we know that we're not actually helping people if we do it that way.
Love it. Do you know, another thing is, just while we're on this point, and sticking with the nature theme, right at the very start of this whole thing, anybody that was continuing business and serving their clients, it was kind of like, whoa, what are you doing? That's fucking idiot. And there were people shaming other guys. And that's kind of like what you said earlier. It's like if you separate yourself from the pack, it's not a good idea. And all the rest of the pack want to pull you back in. Or even like the crabs in the bucket stories, like this fucking crab's trying to get out of the bucket. Kid you back down in here with the rest of us. I'm hurting, so I think you should fucking hurt too. I'm not selling, my doors are closed. You should fucking close your doors too. I hate that shit. It's just like, it's not healthy. And I don't think any of us should allow that to affect our mentality or our inner game and make us feel guilty or shamed for wanting to continue to serve our clients. Like literally 9 people have emailed us and said, how are you going to continue with Elite? We were like, well, we've actually come up with a blended learning. Like, this is what we're going to do. If you still want to go ahead, this is what, and they're like, fuck yes, we're in. It's like these guys are actually approaching us going, how do we want to continue our learning?
Yeah.
We want to continue to do this. The people that want to continue with coaching, I mean, you have a social responsibility to serve the people you have the potential to help, I feel.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And, I suppose, like, again, the guys on here are lucky because there's no way that anyone on this call isn't now going to go away and take some sort of action that's going to serve their people. Is there, like, and that's essentially what communicating with other people does and community does. It's like, it gives you a new perspective. Everyone on here today is going to walk away with a new perspective and go, fuck me, do you know what? That was right. Like I was in that scarcity mode, and now what I need to do is go out and take some action and help more people.
Love it. Yeah, like as a raise of hands, who feels like more confident in doing content, more confident in serving the clients, more confident in selling after this conversation? Show of hands who feel. If you don't have your camera on, would you just comment yes? Oh, look, there's people. So that's fucking everybody. So look at that, just coming on here. This has definitely been worth it. Then, if we always have the mission statement of think different and realize what you could achieve if you weren't afraid to fail. And now we've got you people to start thinking a little bit different, and you're not so much afraid of if you fail because it's not a rejection; it's just simply an objection. Love it.
Yeah, love it, dude. Absolutely.
So, what's the last one?
The last one is communication. Communication, and I suppose I keep on going on about this here, and ultimately, what that is leadership. It's leadership, and be it leadership of your team. I don't know if people on here that have people working for them or whatever else, like literally just go to your people and say, this is one thing Craig Ballantyne actually said to me last week. He's like, go to your people and ask them what you think that you should do, and also what ideas do they have. Okay, so coming from a leadership perspective, if you have a team, and even if you are leading your people, as in like your customers and whatever else, like right now, we spoke about this all day, communication is the most important thing when it comes to coaching. Now, as far as communicating on social media and stuff goes, like obviously using some of the principles today, trying to set yourself apart. And I would say learning how to combine the last two is in learning how to sell on video today. Learning how to communicate and convert people on video.
I mean, I think communication is central to all of the things you've discussed there. Really, communications and copy, communications and conversions. I mean, it's the core of all of those, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I love that. Another 3 C's, RJ. What do you reckon?
There's another 3 C's. That's the C's.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Good. Okay, so what's happening with Hybrid then? What are you guys doing at the moment? Anything you can give away?
What are we doing at the moment? So we are going to run, and we just ran a challenge that there was a charity challenge, 21 days, and we got people to opt in, and basically we're just gonna give the money to the NHS, right now, because we actually did come into a wee bit of criticism for it, and we're just being as transparent as possible here. People started criticizing us, saying, you know, the small businesses are getting help, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, listen, we're not being, you know, we're being empathetic here to everyone. We want to help everyone, and we're going to continue to roll this out as long as it takes, so that we can help as many people as possible. But there's more and more people, you know, getting a wee bit ratty about it. And we're like, fuck it, you know what? For all the principles actually that we discussed earlier on, we're like, fuck it, we're just going to deliver the money to NHS. We've raised about 800-900 quid, something like that there. Just fucking give it all there, and let's just drop it. So what we're actually going to do is just focus internally for now. We had like 15 applications for an online program, Quarantine Strong. We're running that on the side, and then internally we're going to run a challenge for our long-term customers, our, you know, continued customers who have been with us for years. And it'll be a point system. We've ran it before, super successful. So we're going to roll it out over the next few weeks. And even that in itself, you know, it continues on with that type of community that we've built, continues on with the type of culture that we've built. And it gives now our customers I would say, you know, like a small goal, like a small challenge. Because as you say, Sean, you know, right now, if everyone's just doing exactly the same thing, then, you know, what's the point? So we're gonna deliver an internal challenge to our guys. We haven't figured out the whole ins and outs of it yet. We'll probably have some sort of prizes on the end of it, but it'll be like, you know, a check-in, showing up for a workout, because it's going to be really hard to motivate people at this time. As you say, you know, people are a wee bit down. Life is tough at the minute, and it's just giving them something, a wee bit of competitive edge within their training. So that's the next thing that we're going to roll out.
Good. I think, would you be okay with this if we unmute everybody? And if you've got a question, raise your hand if you've got a question, and we will unmute this and throw it out to the floor for any questions for MJ on anything.
No, Sean, before we jump into the questions, I think it's going to be important to say whatever communications you do put out there, you know, in the past, if somebody communicated negatively on any of our stuff, we probably get on and fight them back a little bit, purely because what we wanted to do is we wanted to get more views on it, more eyeballs on it, and any fucking publicity is good publicity. What I would say to people now, if you engage in that, other people think that they have the moral high ground and you're going to fight a losing battle. So if you do decide to have some sort of paid program, as soon as somebody gets on and has any negativity in any way, shape or form, delete the comment, ban the person, move on. If you get on and try and justify it, what will happen, like what Sean said, like somebody else will catch onto it, somebody else will catch onto it, and then you're going to get a snowball effect, because there's a lot of actually assholes, let's just be honest, just waiting to troll through the internet and just look out for anything to catch onto. So that would be my kind of bit of advice on that. If anybody is going to be doing anything where they're marketing and they're looking to generate new business right now.
I had an ad out at the minute, and some dude wrote on it, dude, is there something fucking wrong with you? The virus is more important. And I'm like, what? What does that even mean, dude? Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. No, there's crazies out there. People are crazy. And the problem is, like, you know, when anybody makes an opinion or states something on the internet, they believe that they're 100% right. So you going in and trying to, you know, change their mind in a few words of a post, it's not happening. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
it's a waste of effort. It's actually a waste of brain cells.
Yeah. Delete, move on. Delete, ban, move on.
Yeah. Hundreds of men. Okay, so I see Martin here has his hand up. Martin Mulseed, I'm unmuting you. Have you got a question for us?
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
I'm an accountant. I look after PTs, and I kind of realize just they struggle an awful lot financially. They're doing silly hours, you know, going out at 7 a.m. doing classes and stuff. And sometimes I say to them, can they not get extra streams of income, like selling nutrition? And they go, but that's not our thing. We're into healthy eating and showing people how to cook good meals. Like there's a guy on social media at the moment putting up recipes of PT, and there's stuff on it like dried cranberries and goji berries and stuff in his recipes. And like it's just that's not sustainable, especially at this time. People can't be going to Aldi or Lidl or any of those shops. Why don't people sort of align with sort of saying, look, we can sell our clients a brand of nutrition, or we can sell them T-shirts, or we can sell them value-added stuff to increase their income.
Yeah, for sure. Agree with that fully, Martin. Yeah, I mean, we at this time, I suppose, especially, you know, looking for ways to add value to people's subscriptions is definitely a go-to for trainers. And, you know, like we said earlier, it's like adding more value, doing something different. Like, could there be a way that you could serve people better through, you know, I suppose different forms, be it nutrition, mindset, whatever? What do you got there, Jay? What do you got there?
If you want the recipe to Jay's world famous protein boosting, fat blasting, banana bread, let me know. Let me know.
Is there Dairy Milk chocolate not banana bread in Jay?
Yeah, shavings on top of it. Oh God, yeah, agree with that fully, Martin.
Do you know, I would actually approach this from a different perspective, because I do see the value in, you know, adding on things that increase the cart value of a client. So like but only when we've maximized the number of customers we can serve and the gross profit per hour. So really, I see that as 90% of your business, and the stuff that you're talking about is the extra 10% that can go straight on the bottom line profit. But I normally find that trainers that we work with, they're missing the nines, and it's not the ones we need to concentrate on. Like, their business models are not correct. Their business models are hugely inefficient. They're wasting time, or they're tapped out of time but aren't making the money they should make. So normally when we're coaching fitness professionals, that's where the quick win is. It's like, your business model is structured in such a way that it's so inefficient, it could be much more profitable. So we normally focus on that. That's called focusing on the nines. And then, like, when we've maximized our gross profit per hour and we've got a super efficient business model, looking at ways is like, look, we've reached capacity. If you're like 85% capacity of your gym and your business model is correct, then it's like, right, okay, how can we increase the cart value per client then? I think it's the last place I would go, but it still is a place. That's just mine.
What's the lowest hanging fruit? First of all, maximize that, and then look at other streams. I suppose, going back to the lion trying to catch the zebra as well. Like, if you haven't caught one, you're not going to catch the rest of them.
There we go. Yeah.
Legit.
Zebra or zebra?
What is it in Dublin?
Either or.
Either or. You'll be catching them soon.
That's a good question. I like that. Anybody else want to raise their hand, ask us a question?
You know, zebras are wild, fucking, you know, aggressive.
Right.
Yeah.
Really?
That's why, you know, in Africa, they never got on the zebras and rode them around like a horse, because they fucking bite you. That's a fact.
Holy shit.
Now listen, factual information coming out here all over the camp.
Yeah, here's the thing as well. Only 1 in every 10 hunts gets a kill. 1 in every 10. Far less in nature.
What did I say was the lowest closing ratio on earth?
What, today? 1 in 10?
Yeah.
There you go, dude.
Not a bad place to start, you know. But I bet there's some lines that get a better, you know, closing ratio. Like, I bet you there's some better hunter.
African wild dogs. They're the most efficient hunters in the whole savannah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Wild dogs.
Be an African wild dog, forget being a lion. Forget being the apex predator.
What's their competitive advantage, Jay?
They go for the right prey, I reckon.
Go for the wee weekend one with a fucking gammy leg, like.
No, but you know, this is an important point here, because it goes back to what we were saying earlier about being able to pick the right people to market to, or the right avatar, you might say. But in really simple terms, it's to align up the right message with the right people, and that touches on everything that you guys were saying earlier. And I think at this point in time, what's probably important for people to have an understanding is like, you have to ask yourself, what do people, you know, the people who you currently work with or who you have been working with, what do they see or value within the gym? And for a lot of them, it goes back to that conversation of, I go to the gym and I get told what to do. So if you take the gym out of this scenario, well, there's no value there anymore. So there has to be, you know, using the skills that John spoke about of copy, conversion, communication. There has to be some way of converting people's mindset, and, you know, their mindset or their worldview is 2 things. You know, the gym, or, you know, fitness is going to the gym. That's their worldview. And their self-view is, I need a coach standing in front of me to tell me what to do, otherwise I won't get results. So there's two critical points that you have to be able to articulate or communicate in order to get people over that hump, and then they kind of go, yeah, that makes sense now. And then they can move on into the next bit of the conversation. But unless you get them over that, subconsciously, that is probably going to be what their objection is. And it kind of goes back to they're rejecting themselves. No, I can't do it. You know, the world's all fucked up. I haven't got a trainer right now. And, you know, you giving me some piece of paper with press-ups and squats on it and mini bands. If I fucking see another dude with a mini band, I'm going to kick him in the nuts. It's not going to work, like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, legit, Jay.
That's cracking. I really like that, because that is like where the conversation needs to be at the minute. It's that number 3, convert mindset from strategic to seduction. It's perfect.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, no, he just fuck me.
You know, another thing I think it's important for people, we mentioned this as well on a time frame. Listen, we're in an endurance race now, all right? And we're all, you know, running along here together, kind of like fucking gazelle in a herd, right? If one of us stops running, the lions are running behind us. They're going to grab a hold of us and eat your ass. So it's like we kind of said our thought process is the 1st of June here, hopefully. Because I imagine, like, Leo's going to get back on the fucking, you know, press conference come Saturday or Sunday and go, do you know what, everybody, pat on the back, you've all done great. You know, we're flattening this curve and all. Now just stay in your house for another 2 weeks. Guaranteed that's what's going to happen, all right? If not even a little bit tighter than what we have done. So, you know, it's going to take 2 months or 3 months, you know, to kind of flatten this out till we get to a point where, all right, now we can start letting people go back out. So within that endurance race, if you stop for any reason, well, somebody else is just going to keep running ahead of you. And what's going to happen here? A lot of people in America seem to be saying it's like 50% is what they're saying of gyms will not open back up. If not more, and probably depending on what sector you're in. Like, you have to remember, a lot of dudes, you know, they might have other little jobs that are doing other bits and pieces, and they're doing a boot camp down the road. They might just say, well, fuck that, I'm not doing that boot camp anymore. Or they'll move on to the next thing. So I definitely believe it's an endurance race, and whoever can stick it out to the end is going to get the spoils. So whether that's a mental set that you need to get, because we can all get a bit of a kick in the guts, you know, 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks, Jesus, right? So you get a bit of a kick in the guts, and then whatever way you need to set yourself up financially, you know, or from a marketing standpoint to get to the end of this race, you know?
Yeah. Sean said it last week. It was like, prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think that is vital.
Yeah. Do you know, this is a thing that we always talk to our mastermind crew about, is like the difference between having very finite conversations and finite strategies and views and having infinite conversations. And really that's like, I think pinpoints what you're saying there, Jay, isn't it? Like, whatever we're doing has to have an infinite conversation or an infinite strategy attached to it. It's not really a stopgap we're going for here. We need to have something that we can continue doing it forever.
I think, like, you know, just to extrapolate on that a little bit more, like the whole idea of finite is, you know, the problem with the fitness industry as we know it. So we're in the fitness industry dealing with 90% of us here, let's face it, we're dealing with real people, you know, average Joes, average Janes. And they just want to feel a little bit better, look a bit better, right? But most of us as trainers at some point in time, we've consumed information from elite level athletes or elite level fitness competitors, whether they be powerlifters, bodybuilders, Olympic lifters. And we try and extrapolate down information that works for that demographic and try and give it over to our clients. Now, this is a huge opportunity for us to forget about all that shit and actually ask the question of, well, what do real people need? What does fitness look like for real people? And then automatically that's going to change our viewpoint from that finite. Because you remember, if you're an athlete, it's like, it could be, let's say you're a footballer and you're going to play in the Premier League, 4 to 30, that's your lifespan. 4 years old, you start playing football and you retire at 30. If you are a competitive bodybuilder, it's like 12 weeks, 18 weeks, 16 weeks out from a competition. That is the phase of the diet, right? And then after that, well, it doesn't really matter because, you know, that competition's over. But for us in the fitness space, we're talking forever. You know, we should be having conversations with people forever fitness. You know, from 0 to the day you die, and what does that look like? And if we start having those conversations and people start thinking that in their head, well, all of a sudden, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, all of these conversations will become irrelevant, and they'll be actually saying, no, I need a coach forever. Now, we might use a 14-day or 21 days to get a little taste of what we do, but it will never be about the 14 days or 21 and a stop. That's that kind of finite, infinite game expanded out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you?
Sean, remember my coffee subscription?
Ooh.
Oh, yes, look at that.
Fucking look at that. Check that out.
What do I have the
Oh,
green?
shit.
What are they?
Oh,
Is that
shit.
Maca?
No.
Mexican?
Blend.
Mexico blend.
Nice.
Ooh.
The coffee subscription. See, people are still banned. The bar's a liar.
100%. I tell you what, I've been buying stuff. I mean, we were only talking about this last week about like copy courses and things like that. I mean, we're still banned. We're still investing in ourselves. Like, you're buying coffee and shit. I got myself some Lavazza yesterday. Looking forward to getting a cup of that in a minute.
Yeah, fucking right. Can I sort of just on what sort of Jay was saying there, I suppose, the endurance stuff. I actually wrote an email about this here last week called the Stockdale Paradox. Did you guys see this here? Sure, you guys see it. I don't know if anyone's on my list, but it's finding that balance between being, eternally optimistic about things are going to work out, plus having the nuts to face the reality of the scale of the situation that we're actually in. When you can combine those two, right? Because some people, as Jay said, some people are just going to throw the head up and say, fuck it, I'm not taking that boot camp no more. It's not serving me right now, right? There may be a lot of people do that. And then there are going to be people on the other end of the scale who are just like, everything's completely rosy. There's nothing wrong in the world. And I always say, fight, flight, or freeze, right? There's nothing wrong in the world. Everything's fine. Well, those two people are in flight mode and they're also in freeze mode. And then you have people who are willing to, work at both. Face the reality of the situation, but still be eternally optimistic about what's going on. And as Jay said, have the endurance to last the pace. And, as tough as things get, we don't know how bad it's going to get. Still work at it, like regardless, and still set out to serve people. And, like I say, be optimistic that things will work out in the end.
In that Stockdale Paradox, actually, you must have been reading fucking Jay's emails because he sent that email last week as well.
You must have read mine.
I don't know who sent that email first night.
He must have read mine.
I think in that Stockdale, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Jay, because it was you actually introduced me to the Stockdale Paradox, but I think it was actually the optimist that fucking died. Because if you don't know Stockdale, he was in Vietnam. Jay, you're probably better telling the fucking story of this thing.
Well, what question have you got on it?
Well, it was like, what the fuck happened to your man Stockdale, and why was it the optimists that died first?
This kind of came, it's a bit of an extract from, I think it's Jim Collins' book,
Good to Great.
Good to Great, yeah, Good to Great. So the idea here, like with the optimist is, it's like the optimist, we always go, are you pessimistic or are you optimistic? And the optimists are like, the glass is half full. But if you're that type of person that the glass is half full, the glass is half full, but then the reality comes out, well, now actually the glass is fucking, a quarter full, and you keep getting that kick in the guts the whole time. It's like, and it's very similar, Sean, to, that kind of Navy SEAL thing you were speaking about where the guys are running up a mountain, and it's like, if I just get to the top of this mountain here, I'm going to get rescued. But then when they get to the top of the mountain, it kind of flattens out a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's another big mountain. And one dude can turn around and go, fuck it, I can't make it. You go on without me. And fucking stay there. And the other dude will go, no, I'm going to get to the next bit. So I suppose this whole thing about what John's saying there is like, be optimistic, but with it, use the confines of reality, not to let yourself get so fucking rosy, this is great. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if your wife is going out every weekend, she's all make-upped up, and wearing real sexy lingerie and all. And go, she's going bingo again. Not going bingo. Like, she loves bingo. She's getting all this new clobber and all. So if you get what I'm talking about, if you get me drift, I think
reality's about to hit you hard, son.
Yeah, don't let your wife go to bingo.
Note to self, no bingo.
Okay.
Online only. Online big only.
Online.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
the Navy SEAL one was a thing from Positive Psychology by Sean Acker. He was the dude saying, like, the positive psychologists, like the Navy SEALs, who were able to keep on going, were able to tap into different reserves. And in fact, they were the ones who could actually transmit the message of positivity to other people and help them along the way. So the guy who was the positive genius would go, no, look, we can make this. They would judge the thing and not either be pessimistic or optimistic and see a way through it. And they would be able to transmit that way through to other people and get them on board, and would pick that dude up and carry him long enough for him to see that positive reality. Do you know? So the whole thing about positive psychology is, first we need to see and believe in a reality that it's not only possible but probable, in which success is the reality for you. So like, if we can see that and hang on to that idea and take the kick-ins and keep going on, I think those are the people that are gonna see it through the other end of this shit.
Pretty often in you know, resilience training, they'll call it like a false finish. So they'll set up, you know, let's say you were going to fucking try and join the Green Berets or the SAS or something like that. All of their training is developed around a false finish. So they'll get you to push your hardest. Listen, when you get over this mountain, we're going to take a break and everything's going to be great. The chopper's going to be there to fucking take you all home. And you get over the mountain, you're like, where is it? It's like, fucking keep going. It's the next mountain. And you'll see people just crumble. It's like, you know, I can't fucking go any further. And then you get to the next mountain. It's like, just sit in that river. And then the boat's going to come and get you. And you're sitting in the river, there's no boat. And they just keep going. And really the test there for resilience is, can you, you know, regather yourself, pick yourself back up and get going again? And I think all of that ties together with this concept of an endurance race, with this concept of, you know, for some of you guys, your favorite client, the person who's been by your side through thick and thin, is potentially going to ring you up or send you a text message or an email and say, dude, will you cancel my membership? Mm-hmm. And if you're getting a trickle effect, you know, if you've got a big membership and it's like every day, one cancelled, that can be quite emotional to take on. So you could have two things there. It's like, fuck it, what is the point in continuing? You could, so that would be the kind of freeze. It's like, what's the point? You could be fight. It's like, they're a bastard. Can't believe, you know, I've done all this stuff to help them over the years, and now when I'm in my time of need, they're bailing on me, fight. Or you can just take it on the chin. You can look at it and just reframe it and say, listen, they're doing what's right for them. And if that's right for them, that's the right thing for them to be doing. That will allow you to go, you know, all right, I feel cool about it, and then move on. And what I would say to everybody is, like, don't burn any bridges now. Because if you start arguing and fucking with people, it's like when things do turn around, if you make it super, you know, whatever experience you finish off with people, it's positive. When you go to ask them to come back, they're going to be more likely to take you up on your offer.
100%, mate.
It's really good advice.
Yeah, 100.
So I think this is enough. I think if we give any more than what we've talked about here, it's almost too much.
Yeah, we'll have to send the invoices out.
Yeah.
We need to send invoices.
Yeah, just pop your email address down below.
Yeah. Take one bit, guys, and like just go and implement it. Like, take one thing, go and implement it today, get a small win and build the momentum from there.
Like it. What's your plan for the rest of the day, John?
Me, I am going to create a shit ton of content. I'm going to create a shit ton of content. That's literally all I've been doing. All of my focus has been on YouTube. Well, not all of it. A good part of it has been on YouTube, on building that platform. Because again, you know, I'm talking about evergreen content, and I truly believe that that's where it belongs, on YouTube. Like, no one in 6 months' time is going to go onto that or that platform and search COVID-19 workout. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not going to do it. They're going to go on there and they're going to be looking for credible information, and that's the basket that I'm going to place all my eggs in from here on in.
That is very good advice, peeps. Like that. Good day, mate. I'll look forward to seeing that content.
Always, dude. Always. It's good to see you, boys. Good to see everyone else on here. Keep killing it, boys.
Good stuff, lads. Anybody got any questions, hit us up and we'll get back to you.
Thanks for having me on, boys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Catch you soon, mate.
Take care, man. Adios.
pew, pew, pew.